Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This video is the third part of a reading of the paper Genealogy and Rectification of the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram as a site of Jewish-Christian-Neopagan esoteric intersectionality by Carrie Sealine. Section 3, Chains of Transmission. Although developed by and for the use of an upper class of white, literate, artistic, bourgeois British men and women initiated in late Victorian secret magical orders, the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram became publicly available soon after its creation, published by both Aleister Crowley and Israel Regardie. Practitioners today have produced various rectifications to adapt the ritual to their specific Neopagan contexts. The history of the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram is obscure. Starting from the late 20th century and working back in time, the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram's chains of transmission can be traced through the writings of the psychologist and Golden Dawn popularizer Israel Regardie, 1908 to 1985, Golden Dawn adept and founder of Thelema Aleister Crowley, 1875 to 1947, French esotericist Eliphas Levi, otherwise Alphonse Louis Constant, 1810 to 1875, and the legendary Christian Rosenkreutz, an esoteric literary figure of the 17th century, who apocryphally was said to have lived in the 15th century. The LBRP first appeared in the late 19th century as part of the instructional curriculum of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a British and French Rosicrucian ceremonial magical group. Their primary source for the idea of the ritual was Eliphas Levi, author of several magical texts whose transcendental magic contains elements that later became integrated to the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was co-founded in 1888 by the British coroner and esotericist William Wynne Westcott and fellow Masonic Rosicrucians Samuel Little McGregor Mathers and Dr. William Robert Woodman, who died shortly thereafter in 1891. Golden Dawn initiate Aleister Crowley published his version of the LBRP in the second issue of the Equinox in 1909. Israel Regardie studied with Aleister Crowley and served as his secretary in 1928 and joined the Golden Dawn successor group, the Stella Matutina, in 1933. Regardie eventually published all of the main Golden Dawn rituals in 4 volumes from 1937 to 1940, further popularizing the LBRP. We will now turn our attention to the form of the ritual itself before proceeding to further examine its historical development. In its first part, the Kabbalistic cross inscribes the Sephirotic tree of life upon the body of the magician, establishing a bidirectional current emanating from the uppermost Sephira, Kether, to the lowest Malkut, and back again from below to above. In the second part, the magician constructs a working space about their person, which can also include the entirety of the consecrated precinct, circle, room, house, temple, etc. Having established the current in part 1, the magician now draws 4 pentagrams in the air, with a wand or other suitable weapon, one in each of the cardinal directions. The pentagrams may be drawn either to banish or invoke, although the banishment of earth is particularly recommended for its general protective power. As each pentagram is drawn, beginning in the east and proceeding deosil, clockwise, it is charged with a divine name. The circle is closed upon return to the east. In part 3, the magician calls the 4 archangels responsible for the elemental domains to their respective stations. At this point, the 4 elements merge with the enthused ritualist to produce quintessence, the spiritual substance of the 6-rayed star. Part 4 repeats the Kabbalistic cross and concludes the ritual. As mentioned above, the pentagram stands for the 4 elements earth, water, air, and fire, animated by the 5th quintessential element. According to the Golden Dawn documents collected by Regardie, quote, "From each re-entering angle of the pentagram, therefore, issueth a ray representing a radiation from the divine. Therefore it is called the flaming pentagram or star of great light, in affirmation of the forces of divine light to be found therein." Unquote. The 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, the ineffable name of the Hebrew deity, Yod He Vav He, represent the elements. The letter Shin represents this quintessence, the spirit of Elohim, Ruach Elohim, that divine aspect which hovered over the face of the waters, Genesis 1:2, in the moment just before creation. The LBRP, the six-rayed star in the middle of the four pentagrams, represents this animating force. In the system of Kabbalistic gematria, that is the equation of words or phrases by number, the letter Shin, 300, is numerically equivalent to Ruach Elohim, 214 plus 86 equals 300. Furthermore, the Shin, descending between the masculine divine Yod He and the feminine divine Vav He, transforms the divine parents into their divine progeny. In other words, Yehovah becomes Yeheshua, the name Joshua or Jesus, a movement that incidentally reveals a layer of Christian supersessionist ideology beneath the surface of this European occult formula. Alternatively, the Shin can place itself between the first three letters and final He, ruling earth, yielding Yehovashah. It is unfortunately not unusual that Regardi, a Jewish man and otherwise meticulous in all aspects of magical practice, was not well educated enough to Judaism to know when writing about the formula of the Pentagrammaton that the correct spelling of the Hebrew name Joshua or Yeheshua would need an ayin as well as the Shin, Yod He Shin Vav Ayin He, in order to render the traditional name of the Hebrew pan-tribal military commander Messiah or Savior. Love is the law, love under will.